right.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi, everybody. Hi.
Hello.
I say hello again, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Relationship Circle with OJ. And today
We have a guest host.
Guest host.
Yeah, we will be following his lead. How interesting will that be, right? So, sir, over to you.
All right, so good evening, happy people, and welcome to Relationship Circle with OJ, where we dive into discussions on various aspects of relationship, encompassing professional experience and those of others. We aim to openly discuss even more sensitive topics and contribute to fostering healthy relationship within our community. And as your Ocean just say, I am your guest host, Navario Barrett. Yeah. I can't tell my mother say I'm rich. I'm up the on YouTube now. Yeah, man, me large, man. Yes. So, for the month of February, we will be having special features.
Yes.
Guess what? We still have questions and we are still keeping it authentic. So this week, we will be speaking with the Smiths. I tell us our big people in there. I'm glad I know them for myself. I'm a smile on camera, man. Yes. Who have come, who have been in business together, and we are excited to meet them. So let's go. So Roderick Smith is an attorney at law by profession and is appointed as a senior judge of the parish court for the parish of St. Elizabeth. Shawana K. Smith is also an attorney at law, a lecturer, and a professional counselor. Boy, I wish my back at Wolf things in the back of my name. But anyway, so we just want to invite the Smiths on the platform this evening. Welcome.
Thank you for having us. Greetings and salutations.
We have some people. Well, Brittany Jaman says hello. Renee said hello. Brittany said, "Nav your son like you can work on profile."
Come on, we still take them job, man. No worry, yourself. But I know that Jamila want to ask the first burning question in today's discussion. So Jamila,
yes, I do. But before that, I really want to tell the Smiths, thank you so much for coming. We know you guys are busy people and you have a lot, but you chose to be here. And personally, I will say that they're full of wisdom.
True.
I can speak for myself, because Bradrick was one of my first mentors, and he has definitely imparted a lot of knowledge based on small conversations that we've had.
Yeah. So, for the people that want to know, how did you guys meet?
Okay. Yeah. Well, as Navario said, we're both attorneys at law, and we actually met on the 15th of September 2005 at the Normal Law School. And so you might wonder, why is it that I can easily remember what day it was?
Yeah.
It was Shauna's birthday as well. So I won't ever forget. And so it was, on the Normal Law School campus. We were just there to register for the start of a 2-year program. And for persons who perhaps would be familiar with what is called a bar exam, that's the Jamaican equivalent. So we do the legal education certificate, and that's where we met on that campus.
Wow.
That was where we met. How we met. I had that little part. A nice, nice country Christian looking boy, at the nose board, looking a little lost. And I had attended UA. So the majority of our cohort was from UA. Broderick did his undergraduate degree through the University of Wolverhampton in England. So I used my helpful nature to the person looking very lost. So I said, let me go introduce myself and introduce him to the rest of the cohort because he wouldn't have known anyone. So there were several persons in the lobby, so I introduced them. And as I said at our wedding day, it pays to be helpful. I get a husband.
Right? Yeah. So, how long have you guys been married?
Um, quite surprisingly, 10 years have passed, and come May of this year, we look forward to celebrating 11 years.
Wow. I'm really fine.
Yes, indeed.
Quite surprisingly.
Yeah. Hi, Mommy Jadine. Welcome. We see you saying hello.
Welcome, Mom.
Yeah. Now, number over to you.
Yeah, why let me tell you about beauty and we tell you about helping others, Probably if I start helping some people, I might find a wife as well. Clear my throat. But anyway.
Keep at it, brother. Keep at it.
Anyways. So you said you were married for 10 years. I know that you have a lot of experience and I know a lot of wisdom to share with others on this platform, especially for those persons who are just married or, just 5 years in the business. So we just want to ask you some critical questions. So in your experience, how critically is it for couples to synchronize their financial aspirations? And what drives this importance?
Well, unhesitantly, I would tell you that it is very important.
Yeah.
And being persons of faith, we appreciate the fact that we must be compatible. Mm-hmm. And one very big aspect of our lives is what we do with our finances. And so I believe it's so important that you are on the same page, And so it's important that we are compatible on that plane.
Yeah.
Concerns finances, very important. I mean, to have it otherwise is to foster discord, perhaps resentment. And so it's very critically important, I would say.
And the part about what drives this importance for us, we believe that it's a part of our God-given mandate. You decide to take up wife or take up husband. The Bible says the two shall become one. And I think it is very popular nowadays that we are one, probably in the flesh, which we talk a lot about, as in physically, but that's a different program for another time. But to my mind, financial intimacy is a part of that oneness.
That word.
Yes. So we believe in financial intimacy and financial fidelity. Yeah. Oh. And, research from various jurisdictions have shown that one of the leading causes for divorce is really financial discord, financial problems. So security and intimacy or joint plans or alignment of goals, in terms of health plan, retirement plan, business plan, living plan, all of those things are part of that security that we need in a successful marriage. So we're in it further.
I'm taking that note. Financial intimacy and financial fidelity. My. Whoa, I've never thought about it like that.
Neither me. And really listening to how you explain one of the main things that jumps out to mind is the whole aspect of communication, with each other. Because sometimes we have to really communicate to see what each party has in mind so we can know to compromise. So in diving into the next question, what effective communication strategies do you suggest for couples to navigate discussions about money and upholding harmonious relationship?
All right. So in terms of communication, we believe in openness and transparency. Right? So that's a starting point. So we don't have any secret finances anywhere. We are quite open. Interestingly, I'm not sure if you're familiar with certain government workers. We have to file what is called declaration of assets each year.
Yes.
And thankfully, we can just switch the front page as if to say whose name is, but all the assets, all the expenses, all the liabilities, because they're joint and because we know once we put it together, we just say this one is submitted by Broderick and the spouse is Shoana, and the converse is true. This one is Shoana, submitted by Broderick. So anyway, how are we able to do that now? In terms of good listening skills, Yeah. We ask for the strategies. So let me give you some specific things that help us. So being intentional, um, having, for example, monthly meetings. So just when you're running a business, right?
Meeting.
Yeah, of meeting and consultation, right? And remember now, you go to school, probably if you want to be an entrepreneur, you probably got to go to school or you get training. Most people don't get no training for turn married woman and married man.
That
We
is true.
premarital counseling for 10 weeks of counseling. But we went to what 5 years worth of law school for turn lawyer, don't it? Right? So we have to now figure these things out as we go. And personally, I think this is something we should learn a lot. High school, some of the basic fundamental principles of financial planning. But as a couple now, we have monthly meetings. Sometimes we have to have at a minimum. Sometimes we have to have ad hoc meetings, like if certain needs change. If Miss Driver me here, pang 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 in the car, me say stick up in there now. Carry it to the garage. Just we did have a little plan, circle back on that one. So being flexible within the constraints of the budget, um, listening skills, also knowing your brand. I think a lot of persons when they talk about business. I think last week was a good session, by the way. Business and couples in business. But I think if you're not in business per se, just the business of marriage, you have to appreciate what your brand is. And our brand, a part of our mission and vision statement, include us giving to God, returning to Him what is His. So tithing, we are givers by nature. So we also have a line item in our budget for charity. So because we communicate and know what our brand says and what we represent, then in our monthly meetings we put in place things that align with that. And of course, prayerful reflection. We can, you know, we can overemphasize the need for the Lord. I don't know what other strategies we can.
Well, I mean, I think because we are always thinking about the fact that we are one, we come to appreciate that we don't have to weigh the niceties of saying who earns more, who earns less, because what we have is one pool of income, and then it is that we are looking at that and how do we attribute it to the very varied things that must be attended to. And of course, we are going to be mindful of the fact that we have different strengths and weaknesses. I know I like saying this now. I once thought about this whole concept of the two becoming one and appreciating what that means. Does that mean that I become half and then she becomes half? I have resolved in my mind that what has happened is that I come with all the gifts that God has given me. She comes with all the gifts that God has given her, and that we are also one more powerful unit.
Right.
And so we are able to tackle things in that frame of mind. And so I remember I have a frame of reference as well. So I would have observed my father and my mother.
Right.
And I don't know, I don't betray them by saying this. My father's income was far outweighed my mother's income. But what my father also appreciated was that my mother was fiscally astute.
She was a better money manager.
She was the better money manager.
Wow.
And so he appreciated that. And he says, look, being a leader of the house meant I am going to allow you to
Trust
lead.
her.
Yes, because that's a talent she brought to that family unit. And I think because of what we were exposed to as children, we have modeled that, we have brought that to bear on our own relationships because we saw that it worked, and we have, for the most part, emulated and perhaps improved, if I might say so.
Innovative.
Yeah. I want to comment and I want to go back to what Shwana started with because Jamaicans, like traditionally, them always say they say the female must have a little account and like put up. So
Put up some money.
like what you are suggesting is almost like not what we're used to. So like I remember when we share with people that I don't have an account that O'Shane doesn't know about, and he doesn't have an account that I don't know about. Because, first of all, I'm very forgetful. So I'm going to forget that I have that account over there doing all that. But it's so powerful and I think it goes back to how you started. because you cannot have financial intimacy with separate accounts, or not necessarily separate accounts, but hiding accounts there.
Right.
That's it. The lack of
Right.
transparency. And if I can,
Yeah, and I think that's where the fidelity comes in, because how will you be able to be, like trustworthy if it is that you're hiding?
Right.
And then the powerful point that Bradrick just mentioned now is the fact that as the husband, his dad was able to delegate, even though he's the man. 'Cause,
and he was
sometimes
earning more.
exactly.
Yes.
Sometimes they might say, "Oh, me a man. Am I money this and I me run things?" So that is just so powerful.
Yeah. And appreciating each other's strengths, because I can give this quick example. I shared it the other day when Broderick and I were picking breadfruits recently. Broderick says, Shoana, you might go pull the stick, because the stick heavy and the breadfruit high. You might go draw and me for catch, right? So me sitting now with my good up cute self and said I go catch. And him say, by the time he say, not even ready, boofing on my forehead. Me say, yes, Father God, I'm coming home. Because the sure said that was it. I'm like, I'm gonna say, but this is not right. And before my very loved husband said, my darling, I'm so sorry. Him say, boy, a good thing you for it stop it so it now go better when it drop a ground. I know, say, me never even slightly amused, right? Suffice to say, after that, I said, maybe we need to switch roles. What do you think? And him say yes. So he was able to be flexible enough to say, all right, you draw the stick and him will catch it instead. But we never make no licking them for it though, right? But the point though is, we
Or
have to,
perhaps I'm more skillful at catching.
that's it. So I said at the end of the day, the communication strategies that Navario asked about will have to be dependent on appreciating that there are some things that he's stronger at, and he is definitely stronger at managing the budget and Excel documents and know how much money in my wallet at any time.
Whoa. Whoa.
How much money up on the dress at top at any time. And if government shot him 1 cent, him no.
Whoa.
Right? So I have allowed him to lead in that way because, and some months he earn more, some months I earn more, but whatever it is, we earn. And we get pocket money though, by the way, guys. I know Jamila was saying that, I'm not necessarily saying you cannot have separate accounts, but we have pocket money. I just don't open an account and put it in there that every month from the joint budget, I get some pocket money that I can do with whatever I want. Say buy lunch, do my hair, do my nails, whatever it is. So if I had wanted to take that money and put it in an account as opposed to in my handbag or wherever, I could have. And that's what I usually have to surprise him for birthday or whatever.
Right.
But it's not no secret money when we work and have it there hiding.
Right.
So true, so true. I'm
Right.
hoping
So
that
for Georgiana who joined late, just
Welcome.
to welcome first, but just to catch you up, we've been having a wonderful discussion.
Gems already.
Gems already being dropped about managing finances in a marriage and the transparency of it.
Yeah.
And I'm sure you will watch this video again, but
I think the other question is similar to what we were just discussing.
discussing,
Yeah, it was really what strategies do you recommend for fostering transparency and trust in financial matters?
Okay.
Yeah. So it was almost what we were talking about. But I don't know if you guys want to add anything else to what we would have shared just now.
I mean, transparency is what it says. It's being open. It's being appreciative that there's nothing that we're hiding. Surprising someone that is not harmful. Certainly not. So that's quite fine. But to the thought that it is that you feel obliged to not disclose something to part of you, I think the more we appreciate that we are one unit, how is it that I'm going to know, say that I'm going to hide this from myself? That's pretty much what you're saying. And so transparency is about being open and about the appreciation of where everything is and the like.
And if I could just add one thing. So we're not going to paint a picture of, oh, this is easy to do all the time. I think because it's natural for us, and again, we've had good role models. Shout out to the Hansons and the Smiths. We've seen parents who did the joint thing, and thank the Lord. 40 odd years and counting for my parents. Wilson Noah, blessed memory. He would have also left that legacy. And Miss Lurleen, that's my mother-in-law. Yes. So we have good examples. I just want to give you. I haven't hidden my head or buried my head in the sand. As you'd have said earlier, I'm a professional counselor. So I see persons coming in for marriage counseling who have challenges. And I'm also an attorney at law, and family law is a part of my portfolio. So I would have seen persons coming in for divorce consultations based on inter alia financial situations. And I remember when I just got married, I'm not going to call the name of the bank, but I phoned the bank and I said, "Hi, this is Shauna K. Hanson." At the time, that's what they would have me. I would say, "I'm now married Smith. And I'd like to know the procedure and the requirements for opening a bank account. No, sorry, for adding my husband's name to my bank account." So the representative, she started to say, "Okay, so the procedure for opening a joint account is so and so, so and so." So I said, "No, I'd like to know the process for adding my husband." She said, "Okay, so if you look on our website, document to open a joint account." So I said, "But a lady, we're not communicate effectively."
She's not here.
Someone said, "Hello," like she said your name. Let's say your name, Mary. I said, "Mary, all right. I'm not sure where the disconnect is. My inquiry is in relation to adding my husband to my existing account, number so and so, held at your bank at so and so branch." And like she realized, I said, "My head tough." So she said, Miss Hans, what is your name?" I said, "Mrs. Smith." She said, "Mrs. Smith, what I was trying to encourage is for you to open a separate account with your husband, because I've seen many women who have added their husbands to their accounts and are now bawling and living in regret." So I said to her, I said, "All right, Mary, thank you for your concern." I said, as a counselor and as a lawyer, I know how it can go. But the decision I am deciding to make, yeah, is to add my husband's name to my account. But I realize it means being vulnerable, both of us being vulnerable, because it means that arguably if yourself careless, can go draw out the money tomorrow, or vice versa. So it comes to a level of vulnerability and willing to expose yourself in that way. But when you have that financial transparency and nakedness and security, let's just say it spills over positively into other aspects of marriage.
Yeah. And I also have that belief where it's all or nothing, you know? So I'm going to give my best self and my complete self into my marriage. I mean, whatever happens, happens. And I always say that is the mindset or the concept that we have. Like, what are you exactly getting married for? For the long run or for as problem coming on?
That's right. And I think
So
I think
I think that kind of affects like a lot of decisions that we make, because people kind of make decisions with, oh, if this happen, at least me have this to fall back on or this to do or whatever. But what is really like your purpose in getting married to your partner? Because if you're planning to stay lifelong with this person, then you're not going to be thinking, oh, this girl at me, so I make sure I have to put down some money over here, so that when that happen, I have a little money over here. So
And I think
I
that's
just
where
want
experience it comes in too, because then you would be exposing your weakness with money.
yeah.
Because as Shauna rightfully said, Broderick is more of the 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 analytical mindset where budget is concerned. But like for me, example, Jamila will be more willing to spend, where I will be more willing to save.
For
So,
sure.
knowing her weakness, we can be fully transparent to know that, all right, we both have a joint account and the money is there. Jamila has full access as well as I, but she would be able to communicate her weakness and let me know that, Shane, me have that issue here, and I feel like me see that me go and buy it. And now we know that all right, Jamil has this issue, and this is something that we need to work on.
Right.
Right. So then we'll develop strategies now to fix part of the marriage.
Yeah, that's true.
Yes, yes.
Bradrick wanted to add something.
No, I was just saying that. I mean, for my own part, if I was not prepared to have that comfort level with my partner, I believe I would then have to say that I'm not prepared to get married to that person.
Right.
Because if you're not prepared to be that vulnerable with your partner for life, then you're not ready. That's how I feel. I'm not trying to be judgmental about it, but I'm saying for me personally, if I was not prepared to let her in, to let her know all that there is to know, yes, then she can't be my wife. She could not be the person I'm prepared to spend the rest of my life with.
Yeah.
If I could just add this quickly, because I again from my although I tell you what my personal philosophy is and how I organize my family affairs, I'm mindful that when I give advice to clients, I tell them that there are several options available because I have to be open, right? And fair, and guide them in different ways in terms of allowing them to go and do their research for themselves too. And the truth is, there are circumstances where, for example, in therapy, they may one client may indicate, listen, from our credit card, just a swiping spirit, right? no, it's a tap. Why was it just tap? No, it's a tapping spirit, right? And we say, okay, maybe you will not pay the credit card. You follow what I mean? So there are times again that is still a joint agreement. Also, I know where you have second marriages or where you have children who don't belong, they were not from the joint union. Yeah. So, for example, again, a discussion. You may want to have an account in that child's name, and this amount goes per month into that. You follow what I mean?
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter to say that everything have to be joint. Everything needs to be transparent.
Right.
And the decisions taken joint. You follow what I mean? So there are different ways. So some people say, no, it's okay. We'll have separate accounts. And you know that I have $10 in it and I have $3 in that one. And we have a joint account for the light bill, the water bill, the mortgage, the da 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 da.
Right.
But again, it is the transparency that has to be there. And I know I have a client, for example, his mother is on one of his accounts because they take care of the mother. You follow what I mean? And they want her to feel a little independent and have access. But it's not going to get no secret income and I hide it and I siphon it through that account.
Yeah. And before we continue, I'm seeing some new people too. So we just want to welcome them. I'm seeing Nicola. I am seeing Kenisha. I am seeing Jordan. Hey guys, welcome. Thank you for joining the conversation. It has been so great so far. But yes, I agree because, like for example, I have like a specific bank account that I've had all my life from I was about 13. So when I got married, I already knew that that wouldn't have been an account that I closed because everybody has that account. Everybody knows that account. And also because I opened that account when I was a minor, my mom is on the account. So like, and O'Shane knows that, right? So that's what we did. And then like there are certain type of accounts that I had that I just added into, and then he added me to one, and then we have like accounts that we have by ourselves. But as you rightfully said, Shwana, it's communication. So like I know everything that goes through his account, and he knows everything that goes through mine, and all the other incomes that we earn and everything. So it's really communication and transparency. Yeah.
Yes, man, so true. Boy, I'm just sitting here as a single man, really taking notes. To be honest, I'm really sitting down taking notes. And I hope that other persons on the platform are taking notes because I believe it's very important, as I rightfully say, important to be transparent. It is important to communicate because sometimes frictions might come up, but these are things that is important for us in our marriage because we're not living for ourselves, we are living for others. Amen.
Amen.
Amen. Amen. Amen. Amen. Amen. Amen. Like I'm just blown away, to be honest. And it is, I'm just here really thinking and meditating. I'm saying to myself, am I really ready for marriage? you know,
You feel
you
like
know,
yourself careless?
I'm really thinking, because these are really thought-provoking questions to really look into yourself, to be that vulnerable. Because sometimes when I really look at marriage, you probably look at just the emotional side and just the little physical part of it. But we now look on the holistic part, because we have to understand we are holistic beings. You understand? So I believe it's very important, and I'm happy. I'm really happy that I'm here on the platform this afternoon or this evening to really get some of these insights. Come on, boy, you're good. Yes. So for the next question, could you offer some practical advice for couples embarking on a journey of budgeting together? Budgeting together. Mhm.
All right, so some practical tips. So remember again, we're coming from the mindset of financial intimacy, transparency, and fidelity, right? And
Yes.
so for us, the ideal, I would dare say,
Mhm.
is to have joint assets in terms of fixed assets, joint income mindset, and also joint liabilities. Very often, we like to emphasize the things that we are of, but we don't emphasize the things people that we are owe.
That is true.
And that is that from the outset when you're going to embark on any budgeting, whether before you get married or when you get married or during the marriage, we need to have a discussion as to your assets, income, and your liabilities because it's going to be important. Yeah. You have some persons who've been dragging bad debts, dragging some debts, behind them and they just ignore them. The bill come in straight away until one day bailiff show up at your house and start taking things there. You know what I mean? So we have to first appreciate. So you take an inventory of what your assets are long term, yeah. But monthly during our meetings, we look at what is the projected income and what are the outgoings that we need. So the mortgage, if you have a car payment, your car payment or your rent, your credit card bill, right? And so on. So for us, our cars are registered in our individual name because of convenience at the time of purchase. But if, for example, as I mentioned earlier, the car start go pang, 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 brother don't look at me and say, boy, Sean, I stick it on you still, hope you get your car start out. No! it's a part of the joint liabilities, So it's not like I say, oh, Bridget, may I beg you $10 for go buy a tire? No, it goes in the budget. And we say, okay, we're expecting $10. The car go pang, pang, pang. Well, first of all, as I say, we're tithers, so we know we're 10% tithes, that's first. And then we have charity, gifts, things, whatever. We'll have that in the budget, but not necessarily first. We have to then look at the banks that we owe for mortgage. We look at the things that we need, school fee, lunch money for our child. So it is really itemizing it. I think some people say them no want to see it because it will stress them. I've heard that. So people say can't write down the liability to them and start create budget with stress out. It's like my father-in-law once we're taking his blood pressure. I mean, the blood pressure machine, or what you call it, inflates and it's tight. Then him see the number start go high, 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 high. Come up, used to have high blood pressure. Him say, lucky up, take care of. like not knowing what the figure is gonna help us how, right? So it's the same principle. It doesn't make sense to say, well, now, but I write it on count. It I got stress, I don't want to see it. It provides you with a clearer understanding as to what your reality is. And some of us are living above our means.
Yeah,
It
true.
just based on facts.
Yeah.
You probably want a new handbag or a new slippers for your event. You better go in a closet and recycle something because maybe we're living above our means, but you won't see it or understand it. You find this is probably how much patty used to cost 10 years ago. Now you buy the same patty every day. Hello?
Yeah.
Right. We have to write it down. So that is one of our biggest things in terms of getting an inventory and try to keep it as least complicated as possible. I'm very simple when it comes to money, right? in terms of, so hold on, we earn $10 and $11. What go on? The expenses, all that always stay. And Broderick's elaborates document that he's going to share with you from the practical standpoint. When it literally has a red at the bottom, the figure, we're in the red. So we got to recalculate and restructure. Like when you had the GPS, I said recalculating or rerouting. And come again. But let me let Broderick give you the tips from the technical side.
And so we're in the technological age. So persons can go online, I'm sure, and search for guidance in this respect. But I found it very simple to use an Excel document, and you basically structure it so that you're listing your income, categorizing your expenditures and your outgoings. And there are certain expenses that you can say they are recurring. Every month they are there. Yes.
Yeah.
And so then they are the ones that come on every so often. And then there's the appreciation that there are expenses that are coming up. Yes.
Planning.
So you have to recognize that, look, the minute you start, you have purchased a car, you pay the insurance, guess what? In a year's time,
Insurance
is due again. So, I mean, as I said, my mother was financially astute, so she would have taught me a lot of things. I remember it could be something as simple as showing partner, yes, to know that, look, I want my draw this month because that is when school fee, insurance, and so on is due. And so that is what you're going to be doing. So it is actually, yes, I do allow for the figure to turn red and it jumps out at us.
Reality check for me. So you can talk about things them. Right? Most of the reality for me.
Right.
I admit.
So and there's something that has happened as well, because I heard Navario say something a while ago about, am I ready? I mean, let us not fool ourselves. We're not going to just get up one day and say, oh, I'm ready now. You know, it is about something about, you know, we have to seek after knowledge and we're going to get to a place. I remember when I used to do this Excel document, I used to just, the next month, I would open the said Excel document and do it for the next month. My dear wife, as much as she doesn't want to take credit for it, she said, why don't we save that document and create a new document? So what you might have know is that I have a document that goes back several years. Yes? Well, not one document, because you don't want to copy document. So each year, for each sheet, I have it for each month.
So one Excel document,
January,
right, each sheet.
And then, so at the end of it, when we have done our budget, you should know what is left in your account. So you know, this is what I'm going to start. So after the end of January, we had $10,000 left. So we know that at the beginning of February, we're starting with $10,000. There's no surprise. And so what you do know is that you get that now, and then you can start to see patterns. Yes? And you can start to see where it is that I'm not going right and where it is that we have to trim. And this is, again, we're going back to the same point we made about transparency. There's something that I may have not shared earlier, but I hope to share now. My parents, I did not only observe them, I was involved in the process. And I think as a child, so what you saw was that you saw how much income was available. So once I was mature enough, they look, Broderick, this is what we earn. Wow. Yes? So what they're saying is this. You know that what are the priorities? You want your school uniform, you want your books, you want it, and so on. So perhaps that means you're not going to get the latest gadget, Nintendo game, or so on. And so did not have unrealistic expectations. So with transparency now, which I brought to my marriage, my wife knows that as much as I love her and I want her the very best things, this is my income. Expectation of Broderick.
And gadgets and tools.
That is true. That is true. So it goes both ways. Yes, we can't hide from it, right? You don't want to be the person that goes to the cash register and saying, swipe this card.
Yes, I don't know if it's go through.
No, we can't be that type of person. Yes, we are faith persons, but at the same time, praying at the cash register is not going to allow the card to go through. Right? So God can multiply, certainly, but you don't go there and be unreasonable about your expectations. And so I'm saying, structuring it, you know what expenses come month after month. So is it rent? Is it mortgage? Is it your
Gas
allowance,
money.
your gas for the car? You know these expenses and you're going to have to budget for them. And then, as you say, we look at what has been happening and we know where we have to adjust. Gas prices, Shona just mentioned. If they go up, it's more expensive. You have to allocate more to that expense. And so, yes, why do I know what is where? Because I have an envelope for it. Yes. So there are certain cash
Expenses.
cash expenses that you must have, and so you're not going to rely on a card. And so yes, I will know what is in the envelope, and you can have a little sheet. When you take out from the envelope, you can just document it, and so everybody knows what is happening. I don't know. We just don't hide from it. This is what we do. Sometimes some persons only write that they have taken and they don't tally, and I will come and do the tallying. But yes, it is recorded. Yes.
Yes.
At the end of the day, I think when we do that activity yesterday, right at the bottom, and when you go through the expenses, like you go through the credit card statements, but we believe in using the credit card or paying it off so we can get whether it's cash back or travel miles or whatever it is. So if we can buy ice into the credit card, we're gonna use it, right? To make sure that the money is allocated to pay the bill, which probably later on, if I'm spared, I'll give you some insight into the whole credit card thing. But it allows us then to track. You might be surprised, for example, for 1 month, you never carry no lunch, never make no ready for dinner, eating out, how much that costs if you start add it up. You know what I mean? And of course, there are some times when you can't avoid it, yeah. But again, planning and prioritizing.
Yeah.
Ooh. And when we get, like I said, I don't know if time will allow for later on for us to talk about how we can restructure some of our things generally to assist in that month budgeting activity as well.
Yeah, I wanted to comment on what you had started with, Shona, when you mentioned about the liability. So, for example, and even the vehicles. So, like,
Student loan and then something.
yeah, like for us, O'Shane is the one that drives because I don't want a license. Don't judge me, y'all. I just, I just don't get there yet.
She's a passenger princess. Passenger princess.
But the vehicle is registered in both of us' names. And so I know exactly what's going on with the car, everything. Ocean could have did say, oh no, me not add you, but he found it fit to, add me still and we incorporate whatever. In addition to that, what persons don't know is that we usually own a taxi, but that vehicle was actually O'Shane's personal vehicle before we got married, and then he eventually turned it into a taxi. So at the beginning of that journey, we had incurred a lot of expense. And I never did say, oh no, Ocean business, that and whatever. Whatever loss that we faced them together. Right. And we decided that, we spoke, and this is a decision that we both said that we were going to do. And we're gonna take it on. And as they rightfully say, it's a learning lesson. It's not that at first maybe I wanted to do it, but it was a dream of his. And so we had a conversation about it and we made a decision together. So whatever happened in that scenario happened together. And
You never draw it yourself and say, stick it by you, Ocean. You.
that's just there. But as Bradrick now had addressed Navarro's fear in preparing for marriage and whatever, it is, as I say, it's a learning thing. Like for me, I have been improving, right, babe? Like when it came on to money conversations, I would have anxiety. Kind of like what Auntie Amoy said, where the writing down stresses me out. Like when I see that, oh my gosh. I remember one day me and Ocean sat and we say, imagine we work so much money together. And where is it? Like that stresses me out. And so like when we would have conversations about money, like I would go into a box. Sometimes like almost curl up, and Ocean would be like, all right, we'll come again. Because like I cannot manage it. I cannot manage to see the figures and the outstanding stuff.
The big red figure down at the bottom.
Or just the fact that you are spending, you're earning, then you're spending, or not necessarily spending, but everything is allocated to something. Like why we not have no money for myself, like freely for spend, why we not have to worry about, oh, okay, I have to calculate it here, But my husband is very like, he knows all of the money, like what he's gonna earn there, and that going to that, and I'm just like, oh my gosh. So number eight, it not going to come overnight. So we're not going to pretend like, it's gonna come overnight. But with time, and as Shauna rightfully said, when you start registering, oh, I never bought lunch, and this is and you realize that, oh my gosh. So it really makes sense that you know where your money is going. And so that is basically the other question, like how...
Before you go to the other one, Jam, quickly. In terms of when I mentioned the red at the bottom, because so it's not necessarily in the red often. But what it is like when we put, for example, allocations to saving and so on, which I reckon you're probably going to next. Yeah. It may mean then that the amount that I thought was going to be my pocket money might be a little less.
Right.
Or might be adjusted. Right. So that's where the red problem might be showed. But there are some that you have to be disciplined enough to put it in there, the savings, the long-term plans, and so on. Because although it might be tight now, what is the long-term plan? Yeah.
And it might be to defer something.
Right.
So this is not the month we can take this on because we have these other things contending with.
Right.
So, if you are going to at a stage maintain two vehicles, you're going to be saying, look, we don't want these two insurance coverage premiums with the view at the same time. Or are we going to have to discuss with them, can I pay a half now and a half then? I'm going to consider things like, does that mean additional interest? That is important. But those are the things that you have to contend with. And sometimes, yes, it might mean deferring something, but it does not mean that we are not, because Shona is going to be the one that reminds me that this is very important as well. You can't be working and just be paying bills.
Jamila is that reminder for me.
Yes. But sometimes delay don't mean denied. Jamila.
Right.
So balancing.
Yes. So how can couples navigate differences in spending habits and financial priorities? So that's why I shared my anxiety story.
Well, I think in terms of navigating the differences in spending habits, again, it may come back to communication and trying to appreciate what are some of the things that you just like to buy that make you feel nice. Jamila, you can think of something off the bat that you can, whether it's clothes, food. All right. So you might just shame face. Right. So you might probably figure, say, why this month is not going to be a salmon month. Yeah. But it's not that we're saying you're going to starve and almost eat water and crackers. You follow what I'm saying? Unless you're on fasting, praise the Lord. Yeah. But it is it is a communication again. Delay does not necessarily mean denied. And it could also mean a reframing of the perspective. So we're going to sacrifice this month so that next month we'll be able to da 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 da. So I think again it comes to mutual respect. Because at no point, for example, if there's a month where Broderick earns more, and I say I want, what's your favorite food, Shamina?
Me?
Which one?
Right? I just love food. I'm gonna go with rice and peas and curry mutton.
All right. So for example, now, Broderick can appreciate, okay. Or O'Shea would have said, why is rice and peas?
Rice and peas and curry mutton from Sonia's.
Not from the corner shop, road. Exactly. Not from the cook shop. Noted. Right. So, so the thing is, why is that so important to you? And you say, okay, because this is what I really like, make me feel good, I work hard, I don't want cook shop curry mutton, I want Sonia's curry mutton, right? And you can say, all right, even if it is that you are earning less that month, you could feel comfortable to say, no, I think I really want it. and don't fear that Oshina go say, me I make more money or me I make the money, you know. And that is one of the challenges. I think when persons there's not that mutual respect, and one person probably going to lord it over the other one to say, you know, because I'm bringing this and what have you. But I think if it is that you say, listen, we have differences, you have to be self-aware. To your own self, be true. And you have to know when maybe what you want is not working for the common good in this season. Yeah. And you can take turns with priority. So you say, okay, this shoe, this month you're gonna buy the shoes a few. Next month you're gonna buy that another power drill. because this one is wireless, you know, just for example. No, I'm not bit about it, me get over it, people. I know a bit about it. Right? But you know, it is taking turns, that's one of the things. And also, I'm going to add this because with spending habits, like for example, certain investments that I felt the Lord was calling us to in 2022. That was when I had preached a sermon on the P419 plan. My God shall supply all my needs according to his riches in glory, not according to his spreadsheet or whatever we had. With those full of a sheet, them are something. So as kingdom people, if the Lord is guiding you, yeah, to a particular investment, real estate law is a part of my my portfolio. And enough time I tell people say it's not really money by house and them something, they have faith and diligence. Yeah. So there comes a time too where Project Mike says, Sean, it's not maxing out on the budget. And I said, my God, can add 1 + 1 and make 11.
Yes.
111, right? Because I feel strongly in my spirit. And when we pray about it, Project say, no, same catch vision too. And Project log on and vice versa, because it could be that he is the one that, you know. So at the end of the day, there is still, as kingdom people, there is space for faith.
Yes.
And remember, once again, it comes into our brand as a couple, what our common goals are. Some of us live a galang without any direction. We don't know what is the vision statement as a couple. What is your mission statement? What is your brand statement? Una what? Just live a galang so eat and then dead and no. What is your legacy? And you know, even at my firm, Shwana Case with an associate, we have I'll give you a little prips here. So legacy development plan that we're preparing a policy to help people to develop their legacies as a couple, as individuals, as a family too. Yeah, you know what I mean? So it's really just communicating. Going back to communicating
because it's all about navigating the differences.
Yeah.
And of course, we come as two individuals to become one more powerful unit, but yes, there are differences. And sometimes we just need to be informed about why this is important for Shuana, why this is important for Broderick. And when we understand why it's important, then we will realize now why we want to give some priority to it when we can. Yes. And then when we discuss what informs what we are doing, then there's a greater appreciation for both of us as to why we're going here. But of course, we want to be going after the same objectives, yes? And so we're going after, and we have the same vision, yes? Then we are going to know, say, how can we achieve that goal? And so that is where the planning comes in.
Right. How are my actions, my desires and intentions moving us closer to our shared common goal as a couple? If it's moving us away, we need to check it, because remember we come up with the vision statement together. So if our actions, because we feel like it's on a whim, you know what I mean? If that is bringing us further away, then we have to check that. And at the same time, we have to be accountable. Some of we don't like to be accountable, you know.
No.
Here, so that's the submission, something they go to for both spouses, yeah?
Yeah.
But being accountable and submissive one to another, it takes prayerful reflection, as I said earlier, and intention, and customize the relationship. Don't look over the fence and say, how comes Jamila have a wavy ear? Me want wavy ear to Broderick. You know, me want that too. So you don't look over the fence and covet other people's things. Customize the relationship. Yeah. So what is the reality? And communicate. Yeah.
Boy, I'm telling you, I am here just digesting and eating all this information. Boy, and I know that the persons online are really, 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 really sitting down and taking this information. So I'm just saying to those out there, like, oh, you love the information and everything, I hope you're subscribing. I hope you are liking up the video. I hope you're sharing with a friend, because we can't just take this knowledge and just keep it to yourself. You're going to be selfish, don't you? So I hope you're sharing it up and everything, right? Amen. 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 So next question, as we jump in, as we move along, what insight you can provide on managing and paying off debts as a team within a relationship?
All right. So Shona had mentioned being mindful, because there are persons that perhaps would have been taught to fear a credit card, for example. But what we have found is that it actually gives us a way to map our spending as well, because everything is recorded. And perhaps you'll get to appreciate that there are facilities attached to a credit card that is insured. And what is important, as we have come to find out, is that once you pay off the balance, you don't pay any interest. So yes, it's something that you have to appreciate, that if it is that you're using a credit card, you're not going to be using it unless you know you're going to be able to back that type of spending. And so that is something you want to appreciate. No, because you remember Shona saying that we wish this thing was taught at school. It is so very important, because we have learned a lot as we went along. So you'll be mindful of what are the terms of any loan that you're taking. Yes, what is the interest rate? And so you might come at a stage where you find that, yes, you see something advertised. Come, let's give you a new loan on these terms, but is it really better terms? That is what you're going to know, be able to identify, is this really better for me? There are going to be times when you have 1, 2, 3, 4 different facilities. Perhaps you come now, you recognize it's best for me to group them all, borrow one loan, pay off everybody, and then focus on one debt. Yeah.
Right. So that's one of the strategies that we have used and also recommend to persons: debt consolidation. So essentially, what it can mean is, let's say you have a personal loan, a credit card loan, and maybe a car loan that you're probably not even servicing so well, or consistently, people are gonna come drive up your workplace tomorrow and share me with the record and draw with the car, right? No, what we would suggest is, and again, by the way, the lawyer in me, nothing said in this video shall be taken as legal advice, financial advice. That's our disclaimer. We accept no liability for any injury, loss, inconvenience, hardship, or expense which you suffer as a result of listening to what we have said. This is mere opinion and for conversational purposes only. It is not legal advice or financial opinion. Please go and get a consultation with your lawyer and also your financial advisor. Now, consolidation. So, for example, credit card on average, the interest rate on a credit card is like 50% per annum. People don't know that, and people think that, oh, if I every time I get my card, my bill, I just pay the minimum balance. The interest continues to accrue on the entire statement amount. So if the statement amount was $10 and you only keep paying $2, it's not $8. The interest I run on is running on the full $10 at 50%. Whereas if you probably take out another loan that has an interest rate of 10%, you could have pay off that credit card debt. You follow me? But you can only make those informed decisions when you know. Stop burying your head in the sand. If you actually have to know what the debts are, and as Broderick said, the term of as in home, what is the period? So is it a 5-year loan, a 10-year loan? Because the truth is, you can make the loan for a longer period. Yes, you're going to pay more overall, but per month you can manage it a little bit better. Yeah. And sometimes a financial advisor is like a bank, whoever you plan to borrow from, you sit and say, all cards on the table. And you should not be laying the cards on the table before the bank or your spouse don't know. Because I've heard of cases where fight almost want to broke in at the bank. Right? When persons are hearing for the first time what these debts are. All from debt from before marriage,
Yeah.
Wow.
And this also include if you sign as guarantor for anybody.
Mm-hmm.
You know the status of those loans because they're coming to get you. You know what I mean? So again, knowing them, assessing the data, as Pumpkin said, and And then you can also dispose of certain liabilities. You might decide I'm going to pay off a mortgage earlier. Pay an extra payment per year so you can pay off the mortgage earlier. Because when you pay money, the first 15 years of a 30-year mortgage are mostly interest you pay. But if you make an extra payment, for example, every year, you make what we call a balloon payment, you can actually pay off more of the principal, and so you can finish paying your mortgage in a shorter period. Yeah. How else you can manage debt? So it's the debt consolidation and speaking to a financial advisor, disposing of liability before it's due, if that's an option for you. So you can probably take another loan as a, let's say, person pay off this mortgage to buy another property, borrow against that other property, and use that as an investment property. So it's really discussions, and if you do not have the tools, ask for help. And a lot of times this help is available free of cost. For the bank, when people come take a loan, so then we call, come to your office, come sit down with you.
Yes, explain it.
The Bible tells us that we perish for lack of knowledge. And so it is important for us to seek after that knowledge, ask the questions. And if they can't, if you don't understand, don't be afraid to say I don't understand. And then allow them to explain it. And then you'll know whether it's something that you can properly take on.
And don't, when people them write and say, congratulations, you've been approved for a new credit card. No thanks is a complete answer. Yeah, you don't have to take it. You can. And if if your bank keep increasing your credit card limit every month, you don't ask them. Tell them to kind of itch a reverse. I make go sign up a paper where tell them say they can't increase it without your permission.
Right.
You follow me? So those are some strategies you can.
Yeah.
Whoa. I'm telling you, man, I'm just here digesting, really. Well, I feel like we can't get married now.
Navario, let me tell you, let me see your Excel document for the last 3 months. When you have 3 months consistent, then we will talk about that.
Okay, I know.
All right.
Oh Lord. But I just pray that the persons out there online are really, really taking notes, because I believe these are some beautiful, excellent information. And as you rightfully said, sometimes it's really lack of knowledge that really allows us not to really go there and try taking some chances in life, because sometimes we are afraid, but because we don't have the knowledge and the know-how, and sometimes we don't really ask the questions, because sometimes when we're supposed to ask the questions, we feel like it's something stupid we are asking or something like that. But I always tell them, say, there's no stupid questions. If you want to ask them, just ask it. The answer is out there for us. Amen. Right. So the next question, why do you believe it's vital for couples to establish an emergency fund? And what amount would you advise to aim for?
Emergency. That's exactly what it is. It's something that's coming unexpectedly. Generally, it's going to mean that it's going to call upon a lot of funds at a moment's notice. And so I would say aim for anywhere from 3 to 6 months salary saved just for emergency. Because it could be an emergency that you're not well enough to work. Yes. And sometimes you're not in a job that will pay you whilst you are ill. And so you have to understand that some persons have a reality that says, if I am not working, I don't earn. Yes. And so you want to know that you have a safety net. Yes. And this is also know how it is that you can give yourself peace of mind that I'm not necessarily going to be worried if this should materialize. And so it's also about planning. Yes. And so what it means as well is that you're going to identify that this is just in case of an emergency. Yes. And that doesn't prevent it from being on an instrument that earns. Yes. But it's what they're saying that it is set aside. And perhaps I can even discuss the fact that you want to know that in your budgeting, you can have what I've called working accounts, as distinct from what are your savings accounts. Yes. And so you perhaps even appreciate for this that, look, You don't want to have ready access, for example, to an account that is a savings account. Yes?
No debit card for your job.
So that is going to be that layer of that engagement that prompts you to say, look, do I really need the funds or can I allow it to stay? Yes. So you have working accounts that you have ready access to. So those are the ones connected to the debit card. And then for others, you don't have ready access. It might mean going into the bank or calling the bank or the like. And so that you don't have that ready access means you don't touch that unless you really need to, because you have identified that those funds are for a particular purpose.
And if I could add two things to that. So in terms of the emergency fund or whether for savings too, regular savings, I think we can probably answer several questions with one thing. What we have found, when the money come out at source, meaning from salary deduction, before we touch it, before we see it, smell it or taste it, right? Much less we spend it. When the money comes out at source, salary deduction, or if you can automate certain bank, let's say if salary goes to a particular account, you can set up the thing on it where you can automate the payment, say it come out of that account right away.
Yeah.
You see when the money come out, 9 times or probably I would say even 10 times out of 10 in the last couple of years, we end up managing the budget without it. But you see when it come in at the account and sit down and look and say, hello, Wagwan, it's me here, use me now. What you going for? Yeah, I think in those circumstances, you're more likely to go find something to do with the money. So, again, as part of the discipline, when you take that money out, you just you don't have to see it. Yeah. Also, I saw somebody mention when you consolidate that, make sure you say nobody go back, go start the cycle all over again.
All over
You have to be responsible. Yes, that is true. Another emergency, I'm going to just touch on this quickly, Navario, in terms of critical illness
Yep.
insurance.
Yep.
Critical illness insurance is critical, right? It may be expensive, but especially when you're younger,
Yeah.
and you don't have on too much weight, and when, right? Take out these types of insurance when you're younger because the premium will be much less. So
Yes.
life insurance, because your spouse could die. That's a part of it. Listen, if your spouse did that, that is an emergency. That is a
Yeah.
big emergency. Yeah. So life insurance, especially like I said, when you're younger, you're not yet what we call rated. Yeah. So your monthly payments are much less. And you can use that insurance when you want to buy a house, but we'll talk about that at another time. But for the emergency side of it, yeah, you can take out these health insurance, life insurance, critical illness plans, and so on, because I've seen where it has helped persons significantly. And I'm very skeptical of insurance. If you hear me talking about insurance and the benefits, you must know that I have seen it work for persons.
Yeah.
Yeah, you have to be wise because an emergency is just that, an emergency. It's not planned for. Yeah.
Yeah. I want to say that I think with everybody it's different, but I think like I've heard a couple say that they do 1/10 for their tithes first thing and then 1/10 for their emergency fund. That's a rough enough. But I mean, as they rightfully say, find what work for you. So if you have to do it by percentage or a certain amount or whatever, like find what works for you. Because as Shwana and Bridget rightfully say, emergency is emergency, and you just don't know. You just don't know. And insurance and health card overall is important. Like we recently have a friend that did a procedure, and they basically showed that if it wasn't the health card, they couldn't pay for the procedure, basically.
Right.
So sometimes we take certain things for granted
Mm-hmm.
because we're saying that we're healthy and nothing is not gonna be wrong with us and we'll be fine and whatever. Not knowing that things can happen at any minute.
And by the way, the critical illness plan though is different from the regular health insurance. Critical
Right.
illnesses, if you get sick and diagnosed with certain illnesses, then you get a certain payout, which can be millions. You know what I mean? Because one bad illness, can
Yeah,
bankrupt you.
Just take
Yeah.
one.
it's
Yeah,
just
you know what I mean. So it's, and again, we still have faith in God, but God give us brain
wisdom
and give
and
it tools and give it people, destiny help us to help us in
yeah.
making decisions. Yeah. And you mentioned the 110, the 10% for the emergency. Again, you have to balance it because we also believe in like 20% for savings and investments and so on. So you have to, you don't want to put all the percent when you look and realize that also we're going to starve this week. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So as you say, customize it, but allocate as best as possible. Have something under each of these categories.
Right. Some experts have even suggested a 50-30-20 split, which is a 50% for all your expenses, needs, and then you have 30% for all your wants, and 20% dedicated for savings
and investments.
But what it means as well is that you're going to come times in your along when it is that you're doing a budget that you're going to make adjustments. Yes, and if you can save more, save more. It's not about saying that I'm going, oh, since I've allocated that for saving, that means I have the freedom to spend all that is left. There are persons that sometimes come across what you call retroactive payments, lump sum payments. You have seen persons even advertise what you can do with your NHT refund. Yes, because yes, that was not money that you were planning on. Yes, but now it's here. What do we do with it? Not necessarily going to splurge entirely, but of course, it means you perhaps can allocate that for some saving goal. It could be a vacation, it could be anything else, or something that says that it's not just going to be, how do we say, flying by the seat of our pants. It's a structure plan to treat with it. Yes.
Yeah.
Next question. As that is so true. That is definitely true in terms of the allocating, and that's something that I've been looking on to Bradrick, in terms of the 50-30-20. Well, I think I spoke to Jamila about it some time ago, but we haven't really adapted the strategy as yet. But I think that's something that can be beneficial to how you spend, because and I think it's easier to do the pre-deposit, as Shawana was talking about, because even for me personally, sometimes with the tithing, especially knowing what your budget and your expenses are like. So once you see the money in your account,
I have to remind you.
And it's like analyze how you're spending it and all of that. Sometimes for me, I say, oh God, you know my heart.
The heart is willing, but the flesh is weak, brother.
The flesh is weak. So I believe that part to Jamila. I'll tell her that hold me accountable, or you have access, you send off the tithes and stuff like that. So to make sure that it's done, because that's something that we believe in as well. And as I said, for me, I know my weaknesses as regards spending too. So if I know I can't manage, I tell Jam to pay for it. So and Jam not really have a problem. She just want to have the card and we swipe it and stuff like that. So those things really help.
Yeah, like quick story. When we just got married and then America can ask the next question. When we used to go to the supermarket, Ocean used to stress out, like stress. And Bishop used to say to him, Ocean, maybe Jamila have to just go to the supermarket and you don't go. But I don't drive. So Bishop said, all right, what you going to do is stay in the car.
The car.
Gentle people who used to argue every supermarket trip, everyone. Because when the time for pay the money, Ocean say, damn, we don't come to the supermarket often. This is gonna happen. We're buying bulk, so this is gonna happen. And he would lose his mind when he sees the bill. And then other people would say to us, but that's the amount of money you guys spending. Like we have to spend so much. But to Ocean, he's just thinking that, oh my gosh, like why would I spend so much money?
And the thing is, I don't know if Ocean is like this too with pumpkin. It used to feel say all toothpaste is born equal. I'm not telling him, say no. I'm not gonna take up a tooth. No, don't do it. Don't do it.
Yeah, it's a man thing. I think it's a man thing.
I said not all baked bean and not all sweet corn are the same. Don't do it. Not because it's not don't do it. But anyway, yes, we have to also, balance the thing. But yeah.
Even yesterday, Ocean was taking up a baked bean.
I'm
And I
still
had to
saying that
say
you have to come from an informed place. You know what I mean? So I'm saying let's try it. It might not be all that bad, right?
I come from an informed place.
Yes. And I'm not that
No, I'm just giving
strict
yeah.
because it's not going to be like $5. I'm just saying sometimes we're talking about something is 50% more expensive than the other, and I'm saying it's worthwhile trying to find out if this is okay. You know, and if you try it and you don't like it, well, all right, I say fine. But I'm saying let's try it first before we say I don't eat anything else other than.
But I tried it, man, and those two things that I've just spoken about, the tin something and the toothpaste, is coming from a very informed position.
Right. Right.
Oh, like.
What's what you saying? You never looked at toothpaste like this before, Navario?
No. I never looked at toothpaste like this at all, at all. But anyways. Oh, Lord.
We try it before we knock it. Yeah.
Oh, Lord. So the next question, what key factors should couples bear in mind when strategizing for a long-term financial future together?
Okay. Long term. All right. So again, I tell you, get experts to assist you, right?
Yeah.
I said my long, fantastic disclaimer earlier. So, so seek official consultations, yes? Look at investment opportunities, I never learned, like all stock market and them something. You never learn them something there at school. So
Nope.
I am just now trying to learn it and to get somebody to kind of guide me on it. We haven't dove into it yet, yeah? But it's something more that we want to think about. And that is more of you have long term trading and you have short term where you just kind of wait till you go up and sell and go again, and we're learning. But the point is get the information from people who know. If you want to buy a dress, you don't go to a plumber, get a dress made. You don't go to a plumber, you go to somebody who know about dress and sewing and tailoring. So go to persons who can guide you. In terms of investments in Jamaica right now, and it's not just because real estate law is one of my areas of practice, but I've found that the property values going in one direction generally, that is up. So in terms of appreciating, that's what's happening. You can also use real estate as passive income. You purchase a property, you rent it out, you know what I mean? Do different things with it. So long term, I usually encourage persons, they can, don't assume you can't afford it. That's one of my taglines. Don't assume you can't afford it. Speak to somebody. I've assisted persons who buy property and they never have a deposit. They never thought they could even buy real estate. Now they have 2 and 3 properties. You follow me? Or first property. Buy first, but they have no deposit. What you talking about? What name, sir? Depo who? Right? You know what I mean? But with faith and with guidance and the right, destiny helpers, it can be accomplished. So that's one. 2, look at, and this is very important, your circle of persons. So not just the experts, no, but even your friends. Because some people know you where you come from, but they don't know where you go. And I'm not about shedding people because you're rich and switch and whatever. But you have to appreciate that persons who are like-minded, seek mentors who are where you want to be, right? Look at your Instagram feed, who you follow.
Yeah.
What are you listening to? What are you feeding your mind on? Who is in your circle? Something's catching. So the broke, anybody will tell me so them broke, them can't be my friend, because that term not in my vocabulary again, No man, financial restructuring, or assets just need some liquidation. So your liquidity is a little bit gaseous right now or solid. But the block thing now work. You know what I mean? So be like-minded in your vision, be open-minded. Do not make them scam you though. Me just say one next something come up. People are trying to get money and get scammed. We have to use wise. We have to make wise decisions, right? In terms of long-term investments as well, don't just look at savings account. Money we're still in a bank. We are earning 0.0000003%. Not going anywhere in a hurry. Yeah. And even though it says long term, even after 50 years, it's not going anywhere. So retirement plans where before tax, if you're not a part of an approved pension plan already, yeah, based on your workplace or so on. Talk to a financial advisor because before tax, your pension can take out. So you actually get more to put towards your pension, right? So that is long term. Again, secure financial security in marriage is very important and it goes towards that same type of general intimacy. So if I know, for example, suppose I say if my husband gets sick, it's like the life mash up, or vice versa, it's gonna be challenging. So you plan together, get the guidance, look at those investment opportunities. Again, not no get rich quick philosophy where scammer dig out a guy. The ear is a piece of land and sell down there so you give somebody a $5 million and here's the all them have a toilet paper. Them not other papers for the place. No certificate of title. This one at turn man make them help you for guide do the due diligence and do the things them. Right? You have to be wise. The Bible saying no wise as serpent, harmless as a dove. Use the cranium, right? Where God give it. As well as depend on other people to guide you.
Yeah. Shona spoke about getting expert advice, and something I want to remind a lot of persons. Very often it's free. Insurance executives that are financial executives as well, they are prepared to meet with you at your convenience after work hours, meet with you as a couple and to map it out. And as I'm saying, not being afraid to ask those questions very often is free. You're going to be looking for a house. What can I afford? Banks are prepared to give you
eligibility
letter to say this is what I can assure you can qualify for, and so you know what you're looking for and what you can afford. A realtor can help you as well. Some persons don't know that for a realtor, the person who pays the realtor is not the person looking for the property.
No, it's the person selling.
Yes. Yes.
Again, free.
So this person is helping you to look for properties, and they are going to benefit in the end.
Right.
When it is that they find a property for you. So don't worry, they are motivated. Yes. And so they are going to have a whole database that they can access to give you insight as to where properties are. And they can also, when they are not going to only, they are going to only expose it to properties that they have checked to make sure that the person who is selling is properly in that position, and of course being guided by an attorney as well. But I like to Shona mention it about, but I know that my friend will mind me sharing. I remember he was getting married, yes, and I thought about it, and I hear him making arrangements for where they're going to rent, right? So I said, why don't you consider buying somewhere? He said, I can't do that. Yes, but I'm saying, how do you say you can't when you haven't even tried? Yes, right. And then fortuitously, I'm walking in the office that we shared at one time, and I look and I see a development being advertised, and I shared it with him. I brought it to him and brought it to his attention, and I can tell you today, he went ahead, acquired that property, and since that time, he has acquired another property and has rented that property, and is even thinking about a third property.
Yeah. Wow.
And this is a person who thought
he couldn't afford.
And if I could add one last thing in terms of think about potential passive income opportunities. As much as you're strong and cute, no, you won't be able to work for the rest of your lives. Yeah.
That is true.
So it is important. I mentioned the pension options, and even if you already have a part of approved pension plan, they can have a retirement plan with an institution. But also explore ways of some passive incomes. So, for example, if you have the real estate, you can rent it out. You rent it out, you're getting that money every month. So even when you retire from your 9 to 5, if you're in a 9 to 5, that income opportunity remains. Yeah. For example, there are a lot of us who have passions. Some we call it side hustles or whatever it is. That if it is that we formalize it and put some energy into it, you'll be surprised.
The amount of money you make from it.
Yeah, that's something that we learned last year.
Oh yeah.
And if and sometimes you just put certain things in place, you might have to get a little team to help you and so on, depending on the type of business. But there are opportunities that can again generate funds for you even after you have retired or not able to actively. And so we don't want to retire. I hear young people now say they want to retire at 40. So let me say, some is what, granny, but probably they're putting things in place from they were 20.
Exactly.
I'm not gonna judge, not because probably I was a little late out the gate for some things, yeah. But we don't want to be working until we're 90.
Yeah.
You know what I
True.
mean? So we have to think about what are these opportunities that are available. Also pray for holy and healthy alliances. Because
Yeah.
sometimes the Lord will send persons to collaborate with you. You're surprised.
That
The
is true.
impact. A lot of us have talents and gifts that we're hiding and slump on, and people we pay money for them.
Yeah.
Man, that's okay.
That is so like wow. And as you said it, as Ocean rightfully said, like last year, we have our company and we didn't realize that we were able to make so much money from our company. And as you rightfully said, so sometimes we have skills and capabilities and we don't like charge for them. And that's something that Ocean would remind me
Right.
because everybody would reach out to me, oh, I'm doing this. What's your marketing advice to it or whatever? And I wouldn't charge them. Shane would say, but that's consultation. Like, how many persons' business have you done
Established. Exactly.
a
And
marketing plan for, or this or that? And like for me, it's really just a passion project. But Shane said, no, like,
your gifts will make room.
And of course, you balance the thing because, of course, we're givers. So it's
Yes.
right,
new guidance there, because there's a lot of the service that I give, and like I said, that's a part of our brand as a couple. So,
right.
but at the same time, if we kind of know to balance the thing too.
Balancing. Basically, that is what it is. Because for us last year, um, in doing graphic design and some marketing consultations and
Events, road
event planning
management.
and road management, we were surprised that and some of these we didn't even know how best to charge or how to build some people, and some of them we even did for free,
Yeah.
and we were astonished to know that we could have made such amount of money in couple months.
I
Just,
think
Mhm.
I think in 1 month we probably made like 300,000 from
yeah,
just
from graphics
graphics, and that
alone.
blew our minds.
And
That
that was a pet project.
we were shocked
I was like,
because we were just thinking that we're doing it. It's a passion and all of that, and then I guess
A
like
passion can pay.
right, for me, that does marketing, I started learning it because I was saying it is a plus as a marketer to also be able to do graphics. So like I ended up helping O'Shane, not taking it as anything, just fun and games, learning from him and whatever, until we realized that the clients kept coming and coming and coming and coming. And before we know it, and the funny thing, we didn't even know how much we made until like one day we were putting all the invoices together, and
yeah,
like we have to check it again. We said, "Hola,
Yeah,
what
yeah.
just happened?" So it's true. Like a lot of times we take some things for granted, and if it is that you are thinking about like the future, like you really have to sit down and make some good financial decisions. And basically, we're wrapping because we have one more question, but even in that same breath, last year we decided to make a decision, and we downsize all of that. And when we saw the amount of money we saved in 8 months,
it's possible.
I
Mm.
have never seen that money in my life. And I never
Mm.
thought I would have ever been able to
and that
to
was
to align myself with
and
that
that
amount of
and,
money.
and that was due to the fact of one, communication,
Yes.
being intentional about actually saving the money,
Yes.
and being
Compromising too. So
compromising
like for
and being
me, one
transparent.
of my love languages is gifts. So then we would have communicated to say, I'm going to compromise on that. But then O'Shane found a way to still carry that through and all of that. So it's not that you're cutting off yourself from stuff, but and as you guys rightfully said, we knew what we were aiming towards. We had a vision and a goal to accomplish. And we knew that we had to made a decision that we're gonna do this in order for the 8th month
Mm.
we would have reached that particular goal.
Mhm.
Nice.
The
Nice.
goal was, if we're going to reach it, we have to reach very close
Close
to
to
it.
it. Yeah, yeah. Because we never
Mhm.
had any other choice.
Right.
Right. So our last question is, what are the tips, financial tips and advice that you guys can leave with our audience and couples and singles that are thinking to get married or even just as a single person? Yeah.
Well, I think we're going to sound like we're a broken record, but I think it bears repeating. We're talking about communication, effective communication. We're talking about transparency. We're talking about being open, and there's a realization that we must have that things are not going to just fall into place. It takes planning,
Intention.
intentional about what we do. Yes, we're going to budget. Yes, but as we budget, there's an appreciation that we have to contend with not just paying bills. Yes, there is must be some reward that we get for working hard. Yes,
Right.
and so we have to be deliberate about that. And so we're going to take a pause sometimes and have a nice meal. You know,
Or
we're going to
vacation.
take some time and go away and enjoy what many persons. Well, I mean, we are all Jamaicans. Well, on the screen, just we're Jamaicans. I'm so surprised to know that there are persons that know my country better than I do.
Yeah.
Yes, yes,
Listen.
yes. You know, I heard it coined already. I live where you vacation. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Some things like that, and appreciating that. It doesn't necessarily mean flying out sometimes to enjoy or have a good vacation. It could be a stay vacation. Those type of things. Appreciating that we there are going to come to times when you're going to have to be compelled to find funds for something. Hmm? But at the same time, are you deliberate in making sure you actually enjoy what it is that you have earned? Yes, and be deliberate about turning income into wealth, right? So there are a lot of persons, there are a number of persons that deal with income all the time, but how do you transition from just income into wealth?
Yeah.
And so as I would close as this in similar fashion to how I started, that financial fidelity, financial intimacy, and transparency are crucial for a healthy relationship. Openness and being vulnerable, those things will reap dividends. Yeah, dividends if it is done consistently in other areas. Some persons may say, well, what they expect in the bedroom, for example, yeah, it comes out what happened. A part of that depends on how connected you are in this
Yeah.
very important area of finances. Yeah, because if persons don't feel secure, if they don't feel respected and heard, even as manifested through your monthly budget, yeah, it will have an impact in the overall health and wealth of the marriage. So bear that in mind. Don't separate it. Don't shy away from it. Don't bury your head in the sand and say, I don't want to see it. Be open and get third parties to assist you if you need to. And again, align yourself with the right destiny helpers. Get people around you who can conceptualize you opening your door. You say this all the time. Some people just can't see with their own a key and open a door. For example, this is a dream of yours. Because I know people who say they don't intend to own property, They'll go and pay rent or they don't want anything to tie them down. And that's their choice. You follow what I mean? But if it is a part of your dream, conceptualize it here and align yourselves with persons who can align. And as you go up in the chain, still have a mentor pouring into you, and then you have a responsibility to pour into the lives of others.
That is true.
Wow.
That is so good.
Tonight was just wow.
This conversation was needed.
Yes, I hope it brought a lot of clarity to some persons. It sure did to us. Like, of course, we're still learning. We did our budget, funny enough, on the weekend,
Yes.
like
Over the
without
weekend.
even realizing. Yeah, we did our budget over the weekend, and it was a much better feeling for me. So that's why I'm encouraging you guys that it takes a little time and effort and intentionality to if it was taboo for you, you'll get there. Be patient with yourself, adjust, and all of that. Thank you so much for everybody that has joined tonight.
Right.
Thank you for the newcomers. Thank you for everybody that commented. You made the conversation even better.
Yes.
Ocean wants to shout out Shwana K's business.
Right. You've heard it. Shawana K. A. Smith and Associates. So, guys, if you need any legal advice for several different field, anything you need, anything legal, whether it be house, marriage, family, anything.
Yeah.
Shauna K. A. Smith and Associates is your place to go. I know people who um what I call
Experience
it?
clients.
No, when I've referred people
Right.
there
Oh.
and they've had great experiences and
And lucky for us, they're in our pocket, like a back pocket.
yeah. So this is one of the things that Shawana was talking about, alliances, who you associate yourself with. Because for us now, we can get knowledge from these people just as a text message or a call. Just one call away, just one text away, and we can get such knowledge. And we decided that we wanted to share these things with everyone else, just to understand that associating with the right people and having the right people in your circle can help you as an individual to
can
grow.
Save you for making a decision that will impact your life 10 years from now, 5 years from now. Ocean always said to me, "Why sometimes, Jam, if I knew this 2 years ago when I made that decision." Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah.
Because
it tell me enough time.
Carlan, who is on now, he used to always say, Ocean, go and go buy stocks in a GK. Go and go buy stocks in a GK. When GK was $20.
I never listen.
I never listen because I never understand what it was. And right now, I would have a nice piece of money plus passive income still coming in. And that was me being hard-headed and not understanding the wisdom that I was receiving from people in my circle.
Yeah, so don't be afraid, guys, to listen. And Sean has mentioned that a lot too. Listen. Don't be afraid to listen and learn. And it's okay for you to not know and ask questions.
Ask questions.
Yeah. Yeah. So thank you all for joining. We usually do our shout out for other YouTube videos. So go and subscribe to I Evolve Global. Officially shows I am Remnant JA. They still have their devotional going on. So you can join every morning at 5 a.m. Jamaica time and throughout a Lifetime TV and Legacy Lady Glenn. Yeah. So thank you all for watching. Thank you for coming. Remember to like, share, and subscribe. Tell a friend, tell a friend, tell a friend, tell a friend. But before we go as well, our guest host, do you have any final words, sir? You did so well.
I believe you have said a lot. I believe you have all said a lot. But one thing I can say, is that while sitting here and really asking the questions, I have really gained a lot of knowledge. I have really, took certain things, mentally and really think about it, because one of the main things, and I realized that was a struggle of mine, being afraid to really ask questions because you probably feel like you should have known these stuff and stuff like that. But I believe it's good to really ask, really to listen, because knowledge is key and it's power. And with knowledge, it can help you to go further. So that is one thing I want to impart to others. Don't be afraid to ask questions. Ask the questions, even if it sounds stupid, still ask, and listen and get the answers that you need. So yeah, those are my final words. And thank you so much, Jamila and Oshin, for giving me the opportunity to be here this morning. Boy, I feel so up there. I feel, as the other person said, I feel like I need to put a giant profile. I wonder if I can shout out DVJ.
Maybe. We just want to highlight, I know it's Shawana's mom, Benita, and says, "Bless you all." And also a testimonial. Mrs. Smith and her team are absolutely amazing. I utilized their services through property purchase and it was delightful. Professionalism, honesty, assurance on point. I'm gonna now need advice on investments. Yeah, and with that, we say Thank you all. Walk good. Bye.
And see you next week. And remember to subscribe and share.